Hope everybody's enjoying their Friday night. Um, Odd December continues. We still have more severe weather for the country, even though it's December. I know it's weird. You expect, okay, it's time for snow. Not quite. If there's audio issues, make sure you guys let me know. Currently tracking 2 severe thunderstorm warnings or actually 3 severe thunderstorm warnings in Oklahoma right now. This one's kind of got my attention. This is southwest of Ada, Oklahoma. This one's been churning for a while. I was actually waiting to see if it'll go tornado warn before going live. It isn't a tornado warn yet, but look at the rotation, still actively there. It's approaching the town of Ada. There are reports of wall clouds on this storm. I pulled a couple of tweets from Twitter, storm chasers in the field that are reporting active wall cloud rotating, but they're not issuing the tornado warning. I'm assuming because the storm is still elevated, or maybe the rotation isn't strong enough for them to really care about right now. Let's see. Let me pull up a photo here so you guys can see. But this is an active severe thunderstorm warning right now. There is large hail also being reported with this storm. Let me take you over to the Twitter so you guys can see. This is courtesy of Andrew Shear on Twitter. He says ground scraping wall cloud just east. Well, this would have been west of Ada, Oklahoma. Hashtag okay. So there's your wall cloud. You can even see the little inflow going into it. A pretty low wall cloud. I mean, it's definitely churning. Looks like maybe a little bit of a horseshoe shape going on there, which is a good sign if you're looking for a tornado underneath that wall cloud. So definitely a churning storm. Would definitely be paying attention if you're in the Ada, Oklahoma region. Do not rule out a tornado warning or even maybe a brief tornado with that storm. But right now, they're not reporting any significance with the storm enough to at least put out a tornado warning. But this is the velocity scan. Over time, it's kind of weakened out, I think, as it closes. So you can see as I put the storm in motion, really starts to ramp up at about right here. That's a terrible X. And then it just kind of chugs its way right close to Ada. But as the scan's going on, it looks that storm almost looks like it's maybe doing a little bit of a recycle too. So we'll see if it decides to put down a tornado or not. Back west, this storm also severe warned, I think, for wind and hail. Not much going on rotation-wise. And then you go up to the northeast. We're kind of getting out of radar range, but maybe a little back-end rotation there briefly near Canadian, Oklahoma, but has also weakened out. And then we were also monitoring there briefly for a second, a little bit of rotation going on near, I don't even know how to pronounce that, southwest of Spalding, Oklahoma. Saskatchewan? I don't know. That storm was back near Being, Oklahoma there for a minute where I thought it was going to go tornado warned. But right now, it's still watching this storm approaching the Ada, Oklahoma region. That storm is the more aggressive storm that we've seen so far today in parts of Oklahoma. If you live in the region, definitely want to keep an eye out because there is potential for severe storms capable of producing all hazards tonight. Mainly a damaging wind and a large hail threat, but do not rule out the possibility of a tornado or two. I don't know if they're really looking at tornadoes as much as they were earlier. I know earlier they were putting out what's called mesoscale discussions that were hinting at a couple of tornado potential. I don't know if they're still hinting at that or not. We're going to go and put this in pause, go back to velocity. But these storms are definitely rotating enough that at some point, if they got their act together, look at the storm back here now. So now you have an area of rotation to be concerned about back here, west of Roff, Oklahoma, which is southwest of this storm. And then this one's still broad, but definitely still there. Probably lots of inflow feeding in to this storm. And then starting to spin. So the red, if you guys don't know how to read a velocity map, red indicates wind that is going away from radar. So our radar is up here in Oklahoma City, so that direction. So the red's indicating the wind is going that way. The green indicates the wind is going this way. Now you're probably wondering, well, how do they measure the wind? Well, it's picked up by rain droplets. So rain droplets are moving away from the radar, and then rain droplets that are moving towards the radar. And that's how we know that the storm is rotating. Pretty cool technology. Same with this one down here. You got rain droplets moving away from radar, and then some that are moving towards. And that's why we have our little area of concern there. None of these storms are really ramping up in tightness. You might have another area here trying to do something. There's been little tiny areas of concern through the event, but nothing like, oh my goodness, there's another warning. Oh, there's a flash flood warning out in Arkansas. For those who live in Arkansas, that is Benton and Carroll counties in Arkansas. There's a flash flood warning out. That's the newest warning that just popped up. Yeah, what's up with the weather lately? Yeah, that's an excellent point. Honestly, I didn't even know this was happening today, or else I probably would have been in Oklahoma. But I got back from Iowa 2 days ago and was just so tired from driving for like 15 straight hours, 16 straight hours that I fell asleep and didn't even bother to look at upcoming days. I do have friends that are on this storm right now, though. Decent. The weather's been December has been active. We're not really expecting an active December, but here we are. What's up, Weather Watcher? Coming over from YouTube. I am live streaming on YouTube as well, so we're doing Facebook and YouTube tonight just to get this information out there. Let's go ahead and this is the only severe warnings for now. This storm right here is still kind of piquing my interest, but the red and green starting to come together a little bit better. Let's see how the hail looks. So pretty good hail coming down right on top of Ada right now. So if you live in that town, you're probably getting plastered by some hail. Let's see what the warning box indicates. So this is 60 mile per hour winds and quarter size hail right now in this storm that is on top of Ada. Hail damage to vehicles is expected, and wind damage to roof siding and trees is also expected. So that's what we kind of expected. So a lot of hail coming down right here in this area, quarter size. Nothing major, but here's our, if you look at the bottom of the screen, here's our hail, whatever word I'm looking for. And then we're way down here. So hail definitely increasing. We'll see if they update that warning box, maybe bigger hail. This storm back here also starting to get its act together with hail. All these storms have pretty good updrafts that are capable of producing some pretty good size hail. There is a 15% severe hail outlook today, so we want to pay attention to that. This storm is actually starting to become a little bit different shape. So originally you had that hook back here, and now it's starting to kind of line out. So we'll see if that actually kills the potential for any stronger rotation embedded in the storm. Let me see if I'm missing any comments here. Hold on. Yeah, check on your friends for sure. I mean, it doesn't hurt. This whole area has the potential for some. My big concern would be more of the damaging winds. Nothing like we saw in Iowa a couple of days ago. Nowhere near that. But you could still get some winds that could knock down some trees, and it could land on homes and land on vehicles. Especially if you're out driving, you want to be careful as well. High-profile vehicles get hit by 60, 65 mile per hour wind gusts could tip over on top of you. We saw a lot of that in Iowa the other day. A lot of semis were actually getting knocked over from wind gusts, and they were getting knocked over into other cars. So that's why I always tell people to kind of like watch semis and any vehicle that's tall and empty kind of get tossed over. So still monitoring this storm. Let me go back to Twitter and see if I can't dig up some action here. Usually somebody's always tweeting about Oklahoma weather whenever there's storms going on. So let's take a look and see if there's still a wall cloud out there. Let's see. Andrew Justin's on it. I think he was everywhere. I swear. I think he lives in that area though. Does that make sense? I ran into Andrew Justin in Norman, Oklahoma. Back in May, we were covering hail damage. So here's another picture of the storm. I think this is Ada, Oklahoma as well. This is courtesy, gee, I can't talk tonight, of Alex Diaz, hashtag OKWX. He said this is a new wall cloud west of Ada at 3:37 p.m. So 4:37 p.m. Eastern time, 3:37 p.m. Central time. So we're a little bit late. It's about 15 minutes late. You can see he says new wall cloud, so it means the storm probably recycled. And then you get the nice wind and probably some pretty decent hail tucked in this clouded area back here, this fuzzy region. And then you got the inflow coming in probably right at his back, going right into the storm, and then over here as well. And then you get the wall cloud. Not terribly impressive a wall cloud, but it's there. Still could produce a tornado. But this was 15 minutes ago. This is probably when that storm still had a pretty good little hook going to it. Doesn't quite have that anymore. Let's go back to radar because I don't want to sleep on it, just in case. So you see the kind of the progression of this storm actually kind of getting weaker. As you can see, originally it had a really good hook going on somewhere right back in here, and then it kind of continued, and then just as it continued, it stopped that hook, and it's just continuing along that line now. So maybe something still a little bit of hook right there. Excuse me, northeast of Ada. Zoom in a little bit. Let's go back to velocity. Let's pause it. Kind of a mess, really, but you still have a wide area in which the storm could just randomly intensify and start to ramp up and produce little pockets of couplets that could produce some tidal rotation. Then you got back here also starting to get its act together a little bit, tailing behind that main storm. But this one, it has that ability to still get some inflow because there's a nice little clear slot right here. So we want to monitor that. Let's see how it looks on reflectivity. And so now this storm actually starting to get its little bit of a hook going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if some chasers bail on this storm and kind of race down this way and start paying attention to this little area as well. Let's see if there's any significant highways in the path. So here's our highway map. Some west-east roads and a straight north to south road, but so that's going to be a little bit tough for storm chasers to come off of this storm. They're going to have to go through Ada and take this little squiggly road here and then try to find an off-road and kind of get into position to intercept that hook that is starting to ramp up a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep that highway map on so you guys can see that. I am using a radar scope as well for those curious. I used to use Radar Omega, but I wanted to use radar scope tonight. It's a little bit smoother. I prefer it, but Radar Omega is kind of cool because you can actually like zoom in on the streets. Like you can zoom in on somebody's house, so it'll legit tell you where the tornado is on the spot to the 10th of a mile, pretty much. Let's take a look at velocity still back on this storm. So there's that first area that's kind of a mess now, passing Ada. And then you have a really nice just region, really nice region of just nothing. Kind of clears out, and it's enough room for this little guy to make its move towards Ada as well. However, it might be getting distracted by that storm in front. The storm up here might be taking away all the action for this little guy. That's how the environment works sometimes. So we'll see how that storm does over the next radar update to see if it decides it wants to do anything. Let's hop back over to Twitter real quick and see if refresh OKWX and see if somebody's got anything of concern. Andrew Justin still reporting a wall cloud is redeveloping, so he believes that there's a wall cloud recycling on this Ada storm. So not the storm to the southwest, but the storm that is currently over Ada. So this is it. There it is. So you can see kind of right behind the trees, the wall cloud. Kind of a messy one. And then you have your shelf cloud right there. We'll see if that goes also outflow dominant as well. But you can see the wall cloud, it's tucked in there. I believe him, he's a good chaser, so I believe that's probably rotating. He says modest rotation is present, so nothing significant, but there. And then on a highway that kind of drives right into it. So they're in a pretty good spot. But they are reporting a wall cloud still present on that Eta storm. Could be in a recycle phase, so we'll have to pay attention to that because it could. Yeah, so you actually start to see the back end starting to ramp up again. So this storm might be recycling. Definitely tightening up on that last run though, right here. So northeast of Eta, that's probably where he is. Starting to tighten up a little bit. We'll see what it does. And then this storm back here kind of weakened out a little bit, still present with the probably upper level rotation a little bit. We are pretty far away from Oklahoma City radar as well. So these storms are appearing that they're rotating really good, but they actually might not be at the surface. And that's why storm chasing and storm chasers are so important, because the further you get from the radar, let's see if I can draw a little diagram here. So we'll say that's the Doppler radar, right? Doppler radar beams shoot out like this. They go up. And then, so like, let's say this is the curvature of the Earth, right? So if the Earth curves, the radar beam's going to go up and up and up, right? So storms that are way out here are scanning the highest level of the storm, but storms that are close to the radar are actually shooting the bottom. So that's why storms that are further away from the radar are very important to have storm spotters and storm chasers on it to feed that information to the National Weather Service and let them know what's going on at the surface. Storm chasers are reporting wall clouds and rotation, so we'll see if the National Weather Service thinks that's justified for a tornado warning or not here in the next couple of scans. A lot of population in the path too. A lot of little towns, Allen, Atwood, you're all want to pay attention. Calvin, Oklahoma, Hometown, Holdenville, Oklahoma. And then back west, this storm as well, reapproaching the Eta region. So Eta, just because this storm is passing you now, you still got storms coming in behind. So definitely want to pay attention to that as well. Let me check chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, both are doing pretty good. I mean, this isn't really a huge tornado day, but there is definitely potential for a brief tornado or two. So with both of these storms kind of churning across the region of concern, you definitely want to pay attention to them. Definitely not as impressive as the last couple of setups here in December, but it being December, you're amazed about how well these weather events have taken off. We had obviously the outbreak of December 10th with the multiple long track violent tornadoes, EF4 tornadoes. And then you had Iowa a couple days ago with a December derecho, which was crazy. And then you have this event now starting to take off a little bit. I didn't even realize it. I didn't either, Quinn. Yeah, I drove all the way back from Iowa back to West Lafayette and slept because I drove like 16 straight hours and didn't even pay any attention to like the day 2 or day 3 outlooks, and didn't even realize there was a tornado threat today. Because I probably would have drove to Oklahoma. I was just in one of those moods this week where I just wanted to chase everything I possibly could before the year was out. And it was only like 7.5 hours to like the OKC area. So I definitely could have pulled it out and then just drove home later in the week. What tilt do you typically use? It varies. Just depends. Sometimes I'll go tilt 1. I'll go to tilt 2 sometimes. And then here's tilt 3. And then tilt 4. So just depends. I usually stick with tilt 1. I just like it. Oh, there we go. A little bit of a tightening couplet happening now in this storm. That's the storm that Andrew Justin is reporting a tightening wall cloud on. Definitely starting to get his act together. The storm back here, I wouldn't rule it out either. It's still got a little area to be concerned about. This storm, northeast Ada, starting to get its act together a little bit. Let's see how it looks on reflectivity. So maybe trying to get a little bit of a clear slot punched in there, and then maybe trying to kind of do a little bit of a hook again. Looks like on the tail end of that storm, right where you would expect it. Something definitely to pay attention to here. Wednesday would be a derecho. Yeah, I didn't actually expect Wednesday to be a derecho. Was just mainly expecting a straight line wind event. And then finally, when I got home and I looked through everything, and all the models and everything, and saw how long it went and how strong the winds were during the entire journey, I was like, man. So here's a pretty good photo from the. I think this is the same storm. Showing, it looks like. Let's see. Yeah. Chad Casey says, can someone please help me with today's date? We were just talking about that December storms. Yeah. Getting kind of crazy right now. He's near Ryan. I don't know where Ryan is. I can't. Is that the one back here? Where's he at? So he's on that southwesternmost storm. That's also severe warn too. You don't want to. How do I click? Oh, right there. I'll actually show you guys what storm he's on. But you can see the storm starting to ramp up there. That's Chad Casey with the December comment. Definitely weird. But he is on this storm to the southwest, just north of Ryan, where you see maybe a little bit of something happening here. This is far southwest of his previous storms, but nothing significant appearing on that radar. And then our storms are up here. Let's go ahead and get back on OKC. I guess we're not too far from OKC. I thought we were further. So these radar scans actually might be a little bit more accurate than when I'm. Oh, whoops. So there's that pretty good couplet starting to form. South of Francis, northeast of Ada. We're going to see what it starts to do here. I'm just waiting for another scan. Looks like maybe a little bit of a hook starting to happen there. Want to pay attention to that if you're in like the Allen or Atwood, Oklahoma regions, because that's pretty much on a straight path to you. Let's see what Storm Tracks has it going. Okay, so Storm Tracks has it going right towards the Allen region, kind of on a northeast to east track. So definitely want to pay attention to that if you're in that region. Right, probably right through here. You want to watch for that hook and that wall cloud that's going right now. Still no tornado warning. Still remains a severe thunderstorm warning. There are 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in Oklahoma right now. Hop back over to velocity. Still there even on the next scan. Showing a pretty good tight little region there. Let's go to another tilt. Tilt 2 kind of weakens it out a little bit. And I'm sure it's only going to get worse as I tilt 3, which is about 1 scan back, but had it tight as well. And then tilt 4 will probably have it just all over the place. Tilt 4 still had it tight as well, but both tilt 3 and tilt 4 are scanned back. Let's go back to tilt 1. Still showing that tight rotation. Back here, this storm back here, I have a feeling this storm back here probably got swallowed by this storm. Tends to happen when you get storms that are connected like that. It's really hard for the environment to feed both of them. It'll choose one or the other. Usually it's the south play, though, which is interesting, but it stayed with the north. That's cool, though. Definitely a tight little area to be monitoring. I don't know if reflectivity updated. They extended the severe thunderstorm warning, but did not issue anything else yet. Let's go. I'm going to go back to Twitter here real quick and refresh. See if I can get any photos here. Just lots of news agencies kind of. So 14 minutes ago, storm chaser Andrew Shear said that he thought the storm was recycling because it had weakened out there for a minute. But there's only photos we got right now. And the reason why those are probably the only photos we got right now is because all the storm chasers are racing to get back in front. Because a lot of times you'll notice that they'll post a lot of pictures and then all of a sudden they won't post any for 15, 20 minutes. Well, that's because they're just zipping back northeast to try to stay out in front of it. Although the storm is moving pretty slow. I think it's only moving like 30 miles an hour. It's moving 25 miles per hour. This is like a perfect storm to be on. Quinn says some of the dew points are crazy for December. Yeah, absolutely. Especially on December 10th. Like those dew points were hitting 60, 65 all the way up in the northern Illinois. That was kind of like the red flag, that warm front going way up there. That was like, okay, I need to chase because that was incredible. When we had tornadoes happening in northern Indiana, northwest Indiana, near the Chicagoland area in December. It's insane. Storm relative helicity is helping these updrafts spin. Shear isn't great. Pretty much no looping in the photograph. Interesting. Yeah. Definitely not the best chance for tornadoes. You're probably right. The SRH probably definitely helping. But like I didn't even look at models today, like at all. I just realized there were storms going up, and then all of a sudden there was a mesoscale discussion out. So you know more than I do on the environment. Look at this hook now, guys. Now it's really starting to take off on that hook. So you definitely want to pay attention to this area right here. Move in straight for the town of Allen, Oklahoma. Really starting to get its act together, it looks like. Looks like the rotation now where you would expect it, right inside that hook. Let's keep that circle up. Actually, hold on. Let me redo that. Make it a little bit tighter. So right there's that. So if I put it on, yeah, right on the edge of that little hook is where you would expect it. Those times could be off too. Let's see. Yeah, that time's off too. The velocity scan's 1 minute ahead. So definitely an area to watch right here on that hook. Making a straight beeline for Allen. So if you live in Allen, probably safe just to get to your shelters just in case. Definitely an impressive looking storm on radar. That whole thing going on right here. You have your inflow pressing right into the notch, feeding that storm, and then you have your rear flank downdraft and your forward flank downdraft coming into that storm, helping it rotate. We'll go back to Twitter since that last update, see if anybody has anything better from the Ada or the Allen region. And nobody's updating anything yet. No pictures. So we're just waiting for the storm chaser to get in position. That way I can peek at Twitter and see what they're doing. But pretty impressive looking little curvature going on here on a storm that's really not in a terribly good environment. There is a 2% tornado threat out today. We'll go back to comments here so I didn't miss anything. Surface-based cape isn't good either. Lapse rates are kind of normal for cold core setup, but these dews are incredible. That's probably what it is, and it's probably cold core setup. Dews are incredible. What are the dews at, Quinn? I don't know if I can. Does radar scope have that up? It probably does if I upgrade, but I'm not going to upgrade my radar scope for that. Let me know what the dew points are at. Like we're talking about though, these storms that are firing aren't not in the best environment for tornadoes, which is why it's a shock how well it's rotating right now. They do have a 2% tornado, but a lot of times you'll see that just because there is the potential, and obviously you want to put that out so people know. There's not even a severe thunderstorm watch out. They were talking about it and didn't issue it. So that's how low of a chance there are for like any type of significant tornadoes or any type of outbreak or anything like that. It's non-existent. Really, you're just looking for what we call bird fart tornadoes, little tornadoes, tiny tornadoes, quick tornadoes. Let me try to pull up some surface observations here. Yeah, so those surface obs are really weak. It's like riding the boundary of those I'm sorry, surface-based cave, not surface obs. Take a look at the low-level lapse rates. I mean, it's not terribly impressive either. I'm taking a look at the environment it's going in right now. Nothing like stands out at me. Like, let's take a look at the shear. I think they like greatly weaken as they move northeast. It's only a matter of time before these storms are no longer storms. I don't know if they're going to try and make a run at tornado here before it's all said and done. I mean, there's definitely potential there. Yeah, it's completely weakened out now. I think these storms are really struggling just because of the environment they're in. I don't really see a tornado being a thing right now. Just pulling up the surface space. Let's see. Meters saying 65 over 65, 70 over 65. So the highest dew points right now, according to, is 65 degrees. Some air temperatures also showing, like surface temps showing 75 degrees over 63. So dew points are pretty warm for this time of year in this region, which is good. 0 to 1 kilometer bulk shear is okay at best in some places, but not good. Yeah. I really don't think this is the environment you're going to see a tornado in personally. I definitely think that the 2% tornado threat is there just to be there. It's very rare that it's not very rare, but it's not that common to see, tornadoes going crazy in a region without there being a watch box. And the fact that they didn't even issue a severe thunderstorm watch and they decided not to should tell you everything about what the storms are going through right now. So we probably won't expect much out of this. I do want to see if I'm sure they still have a 2% tornado there. There are storms still firing back southwest, but they're just not in a good environment right now. This is an okay environment for like wind and hail, but it's not an environment for tornadoes. As you can see, this storm's struggling to even do anything. Let's put it in motion so we can see. So you see it tighten. It tightened up there for a minute as it kept going, and then it just poof dissipated. And that's just kind of what the storms are doing, is constant recycling, and just not producing. And you get that a lot. It looks like the storm itself actually starting to weaken as well. Lots of hail still tucked in there though. Still a little bit of hook as well. Let's see what the hail is doing here. So you still got a pocket of hail. That's pretty good. Probably quarter size and maybe a little bit smaller, approaching the Allen region. But it is what it is, But it's best for us to come in here and at least start talking about it for a little bit. Even if I'm not chasing in the area, I like to live stream and kind of talk about the storms, show you where they're going, show you what's happening. That way you guys have an idea of what is going on. That way I'm just not leaving people in the dark and, oh yeah, here's a tornado. But yeah, definitely not the environment to be going into. I'd be shocked if there is a tornado warning, but I'll update you guys if these storms do go tornado warned. The only storm I really see doing anything is this one, still with a little bit of a hook going on. That's weekend. Let's go check out the other tilts first too. Nothing. Yeah, it's gonna get worse. So a lot of mess. For a second there, I thought maybe something was going to happen back in this area, but it decided not to. But before we go, guys, just remember you can become a supporter on my page for $1.99. Helps me out a ton in the long run. I do a lot of great things. I've been talking with my supporters for the last few days about some big projects that we're about to do. So make sure you guys subscribe to that. But we're not really expecting anything else going on. I tuned in live to kind of update. I thought maybe for a second this storm here near Allen was going to go tornado warned. But these storms are really in not a good environment. And so they're really struggling to get going. And that's why we haven't seen a tornado warning or a tornado at all. They were rotating for sure, but when you have no surface-based ingredients for these tornadoes to go off of, you're not going to get a tornado. Or for these storms to go off of, you're not going to get a tornado. So it is what it is, but if a tornado warning happens to come out, I'll be sure to post it on the Facebook page. Make sure you like and follow the page as well. We're almost at 30,000 likes on the Facebook page. If you're coming from YouTube, go to Facebook, look up Storm Chaser, Zach Walters, ZACH, and then find me, like the page, follow the page. A lot of good things. I've been posting a lot of videos from the last week or so of activity. It's been a busy December, and it's still going, obviously, but nothing to be terribly concerned about right now with these storms. I'll come back live if something absolutely goes crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching.